Welcome back to Beyond the Book. Today, I'm joined by the amazing Jean Sime, an award-winning author and kidney recipient whose book, Howell is Thankful for Kidney Donation, shares an inspiring message of hope and gratitude. Jean also wears many hats in the publishing world with VIP marketing concierge for KWE Publishing, as well as publishing coordinator for BC Books LLC. Welcome, Jean. You certainly have a lot of hats. Share a little bit of your background with us and how you got into the publishing world and writing.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with JoAnn. I am Jean Sime, and I am from New Jersey. My journey has been very interesting in the few years that I've been on this earth, but everything happens for a reason, they say, and it has brought me to this moment today. In 2013, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, and unfortunately, it was at the stage where we really had to think about what our next step would be, and that is kidney dialysis. And in case anyone is unfamiliar with kidney dialysis, when your kidneys do not function properly, you need to go on dialysis, and the machine will filter your blood just like a normal kidney would do. So yeah, I was blessed with that, and it was a struggle. I was working full time in top financial bank, and you don't think things are going to happen to you, and it's amazing. Things happen, but you find the strength and you persevere and you get through it and you make it work. So in 2015, I actually started dialysis. I was working full time, and I was going to in-center hemodialysis 3 times a week for 3.5 hours each session, which was truly like 5 hours by the time you get plugged in, by the time you recuperate from it and you're able to leave. And I was not very proactive looking for a living kidney donor. Back then, I didn't know anyone else other than the people in my dialysis center. And then a miracle happened. I was at my hospital getting my regular blood work done. And my nurse who knew me, she knew my situation. After I had left that day for blood work, she ran into one of her friends at work who was a nurse for over 40 years there. And donating a kidney was something that her friend has always wanted to do, ironically. And for whatever reason, she had tried 2 other times and it wasn't the right person to receive her kidney. And as she was explaining it to my nurse says, well, my friend Jean, who I'm her patient, she is on kidney dialysis and she needs a kidney. Would you consider donating your kidney to her? And she says, absolutely. I have 2 kidneys. I only need one. As I said, she was a nurse for 40 years. She was 66 at that point. She donated to me when she was 67. She wanted to meet me. She was an altruistic donor, which usually they just, offer to donate without meeting the recipient, but she wanted to meet me, and we went through the entire process together. And as soon as I heard her voice, I knew she had my kidney. I don't know how to explain it, but I knew it. We had our kidney transplant. Her name is Patricia on June 2019. And thankfully, she was 67. I was 53 at that point, going on 6.5 years now together. And thank goodness she's doing well. I'm doing well. And the reason why I share all this is because of organ donation, believe it or not, it brought me to where I am in the publishing world. Crazy as that may be, again, I had all this experience in the banking world, never even imagining anything about publishing until COVID hit in 2020. That changed a lot of our lives for sure. I had just received my kidney transplant, ready to go out in the world without my mask on. And then here we go, March 2020, COVID hit. Unfortunately, at that point, they were doing layoffs because, obviously we were in quarantine and shut down and all that. And my world totally changed at that point. COVID was very difficult personally for me and my family. We did lose my sister to COVID. She worked in the emergency department of a local hospital. So yeah, it was a very difficult year. I lost my dad, not to COVID, but to a heart issue later in the year. And then my father-in-law later in the year. So 2020 basically was not very good. But thankfully, I had my transplant community and my family who
Mhm.
helped me get through everything. And through that, I met a wonderful person. Her name is Brenda, and she was doing editing and proofing and all that fun stuff for another publisher. And then she started to do her own. She started her own publishing business. And as I said, I was a very close friend of hers. And I started to work with her. She owns the BC Books LLC. I'm still working with her, helping when I can with art direction, as well as any proofing that she needs for her clients, some marketing if they need that as well. And it all led me to, where I am today.
That was a wonderful story because that lays the groundwork for a lot of the information. What inspired Howell is thankful for kidney donation. But I'm more interested in finding out you met Brenda through BC Books, and how was it collaborating with her? I can't tell you all the little threads that connected
Yes.
from the beginning of your story until now, and writing that book with Brenda, co-authoring with her. What a
Yeah,
story. Share
it's
that.
you couldn't make the story up. And I met Brenda because she is a living kidney donor. So I met her through the transplant community. So not only did she become a close friend of mine, but she started her publishing business as well. And she is the creator of Howl the Owl. Howl is
Oh,
HOWL, and that's an acronym for Help Others with Love. And she has a book series. Many of the books in the series has to do with organ donation and organ donation awareness. They are children's books, so check it out if you have time. And writing a book was something that I've always wanted to do, especially after working with her, and especially children's book. I don't know, children's book always touched my heart. And the hospitals were actually looking for a book as a tool and a resource for children and their families that are experiencing pediatric dialysis. I know as an adult how
mm,
difficult it was for me to go through it. I can't even imagine a child going through this and all the questions and the uncertainties that the parents have. So we collaborated together. I asked, would it be okay if I join, you know, the project with you? I'm a recipient, you're a living donor, and together we can put our heads together and come up with something phenomenal. So, and here it is. Here it is. Howell
wow.
is thankful for kidney donation, and it's a beautiful book. I'm not prejudiced because I'm part of it, but I am the co-author with Brenda. Um, and it is very simple. Here is our amazing book, our collaboration together, Howell's Thankful for Kidney Donation. And it's a very simple children's book, easy for parents to understand as well. And that was our goal. Again, it's to give hope to those who are waiting for a transplant, especially for a child
Mm,
who's waiting for a transplant, and to talk about living donation because there are two different types. You can receive from a deceased donor and wait on the wait list, or if you have someone who can step up, like my donor did, and offer to share their spare, as we put it,
mm,
and can save a child's life and get them off of the list. And that's what this book is about. The pictures are awesome, the illustrations. There are a
mm.
bunch of Easter egg and nuggets in here that are personal to myself and Brenda. You wouldn't know them unless we actually pointed them out to you. But what we wanted to do, we had some big words in there, big terms that we definitely wanted to have in there because that is the reality of it. So we added a glossary at the back of it.
Oh,
So just for
perfect.
parents to simplify it for them as well. And then on the back, we have pictures of my last dialysis session. And this is
Mm.
Brenda and myself at the Transplant Games of America in San Diego a couple years ago. This is a picture of myself and my donor on our transplant day. Patricia and
Oh,
we call that our popcorn hats because they look like Jiffy Pop hats. And then this is a picture of Brenda with her recipient. She donated her kidney, I think it's 23 years now,
oh,
to a mom in her daughter's school who was in need of a life-saving kidney. And it was just a calling that she had. She knew nothing about it. When the woman said she needs a kidney, she was just called to it. So you can't
oh,
explain it. Intervention for sure.
What a fantastic story. I don't think a lot of people think about it until you talk to somebody that was either a donor or needed a kidney.
It's some
Mm.
children are born with genetic diseases. And a lot of times doctors don't do the right tests to check for kidney function. So even for adults in your basic panel, when you get your regular blood work done, make sure they are checking for your kidney function because it can happen when you're a
Mhm.
baby. You can be born with only one kidney, which is okay, but you won't know unless you get checked. You
Right,
only need
right.
one kidney. Yeah, you only need one.
I just had my panel done and my doctor does. It's right on their kidney. I always look to see all my numbers. I don't think people really think about it. It's blood work, but
It's
watch
very important.
your numbers, kidney, thyroid,
Yeah.
red blood cells, white blood cells. You never know. Something could pop up. Did you have any indication, Jean, that you were going to need that?
My mom was on dialysis way back when. Things were totally different back then when she was on it. But you never think that it's going to happen to you. I'll just leave it at that. There were red flags, and that's why at the point where we had to make a decision of what type of treatment we were going to do, whether it was dialysis or hemodialysis or home dialysis, whatever it would be, we needed something. The symptoms were just adding on, and it was not a good situation.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Let's move on to publishing because I know you do a lot of behind the scenes with publishing. You've worked in so many aspects of publishing, editing, proofreading, art direction, and marketing. Which part do you enjoy most and why?
At BC Books, when I was working with a lot of the children's authors, I loved doing the art direction because
Mm.
we would use an illustrator, but I would be the person in between the author and the illustrator. So the author would describe what they were visioning for it, and I would chime in, Brenda would chime in, and together we would collaborate, and then I would be the one to communicate this to the illustrator, and just seeing it come to life. And that's part of another reason why I just fell in love with children's book itself, because it's not necessarily the words telling the story, the
Mhm.
illustrations tell a big part of that story as well, which is important for children's book, especially new children's book authors, to know. You
Mhm.
don't have to put everything in words because
Mm-mm.
sometimes your illustrations, you know, say a lot.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. However, your subject, I would think that you would need a few more words. I saw you had quite a few words on the page, and I'm just curious about that. I'm sure it's the aspect of the kidney donation and the basis of your book and the story, telling the story.
Yes, yes. And it's about Howell and his friend Jeannie, which is my name, and how he feels bad because she can't go out and play with him after school because she has to do kidney dialysis. And he helps her mom and dad look for a donor. So him and his other animal friends, they go and they put flyers up. Her mom and dad, they put a
Mm.
billboard up. And in the long run, her aunt is the one who is actually testing behind the scenes, and she's a perfect match for little Jeannie, and he's there to support her through it. And it's really about kindness and about friendship. And the award that we won is the International Impact Award, and we won in two categories, for kindness and for friendship.
Story to share with kids. I'm sure there's a lot of kids that need to read that story. And even if they don't have an issue with kidney or having to
Yes.
deal with that, just making them aware. And I would think that it would teach sympathy, empathy,
Yes.
kindness.
All about, right? Even if someone is sick or they look different or they can't play, it doesn't mean that they're not still special to you. I think it has a
Mhm.
lot of different messages, which I truly love about it.
I agree. From your experience, what are key things that new authors should know before jumping in to writing a book? I don't know whether it comes into play. That question so much is about writing. I think it's more after you've written the story. the editing, the illustrations, the book design. What do you think is the most important, or just a word of advice because you have a lot of experience with the whole process?
Yeah. I would say know your audience. Okay.
Mm.
Who are you going to market this book to? Right? What is your message? What do you want people to walk away or children to walk away with when they read your book? And what does success look like to you? Because every author is different. Some maybe want a number one bestseller. They want to be on the New York Times list. They want this to be supplemental income or their primary income. Whereas someone may just create a children's book just because it's something that they have dreamt of their entire life. So I would say that those are like three important things. And that's something in
Mm.
Kiwi Publishing that we always strive to check in with our authors at the beginning of the project. And we check in regularly to make sure that we answer those three things by the time we're done with the publishing process. And also, the other thing, too, besides everything that you mentioned, you do your research, find out if you want a traditional publisher, a bird publisher, you want to self publish, whatever it is. Do your research. There's different strokes for different folks. Some work for others more than others do. So just do your research because it is an investment and you want to make sure that it's the right investment for you.
Absolutely. Great advice, Jean. I like the one about what does success look like for you, or what are you expecting? Because sometimes I think the expectations are higher than what most would think. Some authors may think success is, well, I wrote it, I published it, that's all I wanted to do. That was what exactly I wanted to do. Then there's the marketing aspect that a lot of people say, oh my gosh, now I got to market it. And they think that because it's such a challenge, or something that not as easy as they thought it was going to be, that they're going to fail at it. And it's just baby steps. What are a few common mistakes authors make during production, and how can they avoid them? I have one of my own, so I want to hear what you have to say and see if that was one of my mistakes.
I don't know if it's for production itself, other than don't be hard on yourself. Be patient with yourself throughout the process because it is a process and it's
Mhm.
different. It's a different journey for everyone. But I think the one thing I want people to take away with is it's never too soon to start marketing your book. Even if you haven't published it yet, even if you haven't drafted your manuscript, start telling people because it's all about creating relationships with others, whether it's relationships with schools, your local library, people that have connections in museums. Think out of the
Mhm.
box. I always tell our authors, think out of the box. We know bookstores are the first thing that we think of, or schools for children's books. But there's so many cool things out there. For instance, we have an author who just published a book about a shark and a manatee creature, and he lives down in Florida and they have aquariums down there. I'm like, how perfect
Wow.
is that? We have the bookstores we're
Mhm.
going to market to them, but how cool would that be to get this in the gift shop, or to come and do a storybook
Absolutely.
reading and show pictures, the amazing illustrations that he has in his book. So I would say
Yes.
start marketing, start the relationships, start collaborating with other children's book authors.
Mhm.
Phenomenal. Out of all the genres I have worked with, the children's book community has been so supportive of each other. And JoAnn, we have some key players out there who are doing amazing things every single day. And I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for them. So I would just say that just be open and go out there, get out there, talk about your book, talk about your idea.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Jean. I was a little timid going into it because I almost felt like I wasn't worthy of being an author, or what is it called now? Imposter syndrome. That, oh, it's not going to be good. Nobody's going to want it. And one of my mistakes is I don't think I marketed it enough at the beginning. And I would say 2, 3 months, the Kickstarter campaigns really help
Yeah.
market and get you out there ahead because you're pre selling your book. And so I agree with you about that. And the author world,
Yeah.
it is one of the most valuable. I've learned even meeting you and many other authors that are so generous with so much information that don't hold your information close to your vest because we're all here doing the same thing, trying to swim down the same river and get where we want to go. And there's nothing more special and rewarding than sharing and helping someone else that's stuck in something or,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. So
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Author community is wonderful. Whether you go in, the challenge that I have, Jean, with that is there's so many groups.
Yes.
And I love the groups because there's author groups that help one another. You can put book covers out
Mhm.
and get different people's opinions of them. There's smaller groups that you're doing author challenges like Harley Mansky does. I don't know if you're involved in her Halloween
Yes.
challenge right now. They're so much fun. I'm not one to play games or get involved in things like that. I guess you could say sometimes I'm a little too serious. I think that's my background in business and entrepreneurship and a real estate broker. But sometimes I just let my hair down and say, okay, I got to have fun with this one.
Yes. You're spot on with that. And it's just about community and to know that you can reach out to someone and ask a question. Every day things are evolving and this is new. This is new
Mhm.
for me and I've learned so much just from watching other people and what they're doing and giving each other reviews on their books and how important that is as well. And it just gives more visibility and just having that community to support you, especially on a new venture and a continuing book series venture, I think is truly priceless.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on to marketing and visibility. You also help authors market their books primarily through KWE Publishing, but also for BC Books LLC and privately contracted clients on your own. What advice can you give to a new children's book author to marketing? What would you have them avoid? I feel like there's something more of a conversation what to avoid.
Mm.
And I can say for myself what I should have avoided. Share your opinion of that, Jean.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say be aware of the scammers that are out there. Unfortunately, they are out
Mm,
there, and
goodness.
especially a new author, it's like bait, and they will
Mm,
contact you for whatever can bring you to a number one bestseller, can whatever, sell 50,000 copies for you. Remember, the legit people are too busy with their own clients to reach out to you specifically. So I would
mm.
say that's a first red flag. If we have many authors who reach out to us and say, "Hey, does this look right to you?" It's a television producer and they want me to go on their show and for $1,200 they'll produce it and blah blah. So I would just say, be very very cautious, be careful what you invest in. And my main thing I would say, regardless of your entire journey as a children's book author, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be frustrations. You're going to say, why did I do this? And, all this good stuff. You have boxes of books in your garage sitting there collecting dust. I made a mistake. Just never, ever, ever forget that passion that you had when you
Mm.
said, I want to write my book. Never forget that and always bring yourself back home when that little birdie in your head says, "What the heck are you doing? This is a very passionate project because it's personal for
Mhm.
me," right? I want
Mhm.
to help. I
Mhm.
know how challenging it was for me as an adult. Just never forget your
Yep.
passion. Always come back home. Why did I write this book? I want to spread kindness. I want children to be happy. I want it to be a legacy to my family. Whatever it is, just bring yourself back home.
I'm going to circle back to the scammers, Jean, because I've been scammed. And unfortunately, it's more than once or twice. Whether it was an illustrator that I paid $100 for a sample, whether it was marketing, I have now vowed I don't pay for reviews. I have more than enough author friends that will
Right.
share my book, reviews, clients. I'm standing at a farmer's market. Please don't forget to write a review.
Yes.
People are so generous with writing reviews when they love your book, but I just hate the ones that say $100 for five
Right.
reviews. Unfortunately,
Yes.
I feel like there's more scammers than they are. If it sounds too good to be true, it
Yeah.
is. And even if you pay for reviews, they're going to do 5, 10, 50 phony reviews that you don't want anyway. And so that's where, unfortunately, I've seen that happen as well to take advantage of
Yes.
um, innocent authors that you think, oh, I just want to get my book out there and I want people to read it. And this is a quick fix to get those 10, 20, 50 reviews, but don't fall for it. It takes time
Yes.
to get the reviews. And on the other note about the garage full of boxes, go out and do farmers
Yes.
markets. Put yourself out there. You'll sell those books. I have a rule of thumb. I don't buy more than 500 because I feel like that's a manageable amount. When you have 15 books, you don't want more than 500 of each. Fortunately, I have a warehouse that my husband runs a business out of, but not everybody has that luxury. And so I've heard people say, I only ordered 100, especially if you're a new author. I think I started out with 100 or
Mhm.
200 because you don't know whether that book's going to sell. You may have 3 books in a series.
Right.
My Young Riley series, Riley the Young Rocketeer, sells fivefold over Mars and the Moon. And so here I am sitting with two, three, 500 sets of books. So you have to be careful.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my best advice is be careful what you order up front because so often the printers will say, well, if you buy 1,000
Right.
or you buy 50, it's the same price as buying 500. Well, what happens if that book doesn't sell? What happens if it's not a number one seller? You are stuck with 1,000 books for the rest of your life. And so
You just have
eh,
to borrow
I
your
just
storage unit then.
I just think you have to be careful because I think people urge other authors, your
Right.
price per book when you're ordering goes down, but that's not the
Right.
point. You've got to be careful of your
Yeah.
investment. My Lulu's book, which was one of my first books, it's not a big seller. And when I was a young author, I thought, I'm just going to buy 500 of every single book. Well, here I sit with, I still think I have 400 4 years later. So you have to be careful with that whole concept and make some smart
Yes.
decisions.
Absolutely. Point on. Yep.
Sorry, that was my
Yeah,
run.
that was a good one.
I don't want to get on my soapbox,
No,
Jean.
but authors need to think about that. And if
Um,
they're not, let's say they're going through a publisher, you have to have a legit publisher who's going to be honest with you and upfront and really care
um,
about you because things can go sideways if you order too many books, like you said.
and it's an investment, but you've got to be able to afford that investment. And I think that's where the disappointment in publishing or as an author that you feel like, oh, my first one was a flop. I have all these books. I can't get rid of them. And some people give up. That's why I think you have to be so careful of
Yeah.
managing at the beginning to make sure it's manageable for you and what's right for you might not be right for somebody
That's correct.
else. What are some of the low cost ways children's book authors can promote their books while still being authentic and build long term relationships with, with readers? I think we've touched on this a little bit. Share with the listeners about some of the low costs that you might recommend, Jean.
Yeah, I would say I just did a Monday Marketing Minute. That's our one of the things that we do at Kiwi Publishing. Every Monday we give a Monday Marketing Minute. And I talked about an author sheet. Okay, that's something very simple. You can make on Canva. It's something anyone who signs up for marketing through Kiwi Publishing, that's something that we do for them. And it's just a one-page flyer. It sells you. It sells your book. It gives you credibility. It's professional. It's a one sheet looker that has your photo, a short bio, your the cover image, a short description of your book, your all your ISBN numbers, your publishing date, who to contact, if someone's interested in booking you for an event. So that's low cost. I think every single author
Mm.
out there, regardless of what genre it is, should have something like that. So that's the first thing. But really, I would say, besides getting out there and you can pick and choose which events you want to go to. Here in New Jersey, it's pretty minimal for an event, maybe $40, $50 for like a farmer's market or a harvest fest or whatever kind of event that they may be having. And all you need is a couple books to sell and you make up that
Mhm.
price. And I will tell you, I go to so many different ones. And if you look at my Monday Marketing Minute, you'll see I try to do live videos from the different festivals that I go to. I am lucky if I see one author there. And every time,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
and every time their table is swamped with people. I think it's a gold mine, but you have to feel
Yeah.
comfortable, right? You have to have the time and the energy to schlep all your stuff over there, set your tent up, set your
Mhm.
table up, set your books up, have all your payment process all in order. And it's an investment of your time and your energy. But that's where you're going to make your biggest money. I mean, if you're selling it,
Yeah.
for retail and you paid only your author copy costs, that's a big margin right there. Selling it in bulk also, going to schools and instead of charging an author fee, say, hey, I require every child that I'm presenting the book to have a book. So a minimal
Mhm.
25 books we need you to purchase. Or here's an order sheet. Send it to the families a month before, 3 weeks before my event, and have them purchase the book or offer them to purchase the book, something like that. But I think really the key thing too is social media is so powerful and it's free, right? The problem is
Mhm.
you don't know what return is coming from social media. You have no idea who
Mhm.
purchased your book because they saw your Monday Marketing Minute, on Monday. You have no idea, but it's not all about selling your book. Every day it should not be, here's my books, buy my book. What I mean, here it's on sale today. People will turn you off. You need to build a relationship with them. Just like everybody else on the outside, you need to build a relationship on social media. You need to get a little bit personal. People, some of our authors are amazing. They just have fun with it. They just do fun
Mhm.
videos. They're out and about with their grandkids or they're on vacation somewhere. People want to know that you are you. You are human. They want to learn a little bit about you. They want to get a little bit invested in you as well, especially if you have a book series. I mean, you want continual followers. We want somebody to say, oh, JoAnn, I can't wait till your next book comes out. What is it going to be about? You want to get them excited. You want to tease them a little bit, but you
Mhm.
don't want to overwhelm them with sell, sell, sell. It's not about the book
Yes.
every time. It's about you and your relationship with your readers and your followers.
Absolutely. Great advice. And I'm going to circle back to farmers markets because I feel like I'm getting more and more experience for the last couple years. I do it because it feeds my inner soul of meeting those kids and seeing
Yes.
their faces light up, just like at the school events. And it is a bigger profit margin. I do have a rule of thumb: the more money you pay, the more books you have to sell.
Yes.
So I feel like the sweet spot is between either a percentage of your sales. I go to one that is a percentage, it's 10% of whatever your total sales are. So if
Oh,
you sell $500 in books, that's only $50 in cost. And you feel like you're walking away like you've made money that
right.
day and your time wasn't just wasted. I like to do 4-hour events. I've done 8-hour events and it's exhausting, especially if you're doing Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday. I am just wiped out. And then the other farmers markets that I do, $40 or $50, I only have to sell 4 or 5 books. And it's really easy to sell 20 books in one day. So I'm surprised that there's not more at your markets and events because for any listeners out there, that is the biggest profit margin is go out
Yes.
and the benefit of them meeting you as an
Yes.
author, it's special to them. And so they want to see you as much as you want to meet them.
Yeah. And you just don't know who you're going to meet. You could
No.
meet a school principal there and you totally blow them away. And they're like, you know what? I want to invite you to my school. I
Yes.
want you to do an assembly for the PTO or whatever. I
Mhm.
always tell my authors if it's an event that you can participate in, it's within your budget, and you have the time to do it, go for it. You just don't know who you're going to meet.
Absolutely. I get school visits at least 1, 2 a month. I get school visits based on my farmers market. I've gotten into stores because of farmers markets, and there's so many librarians and they'll buy books and then they share. I have a little 3 by 5 card that has all my covers on it and my contact information. So you're constantly giving that out, but
Yes.
it's just that one-on-one, face-to-face
Yeah.
that you're meeting. It opens doors. Next Friday, I'm speaking at a college in their space department
Wow.
because I met them at a book fair, and they're carrying all 3 books of Riley. They bought 10 books each
Fantastic.
in that series. Now that's a premium and that's ideal. I'm in another large store that I just filled an order of 125 books they
Awesome.
bought throughout my series.
Wow.
So you never know who you are going to meet. Don't think that you're wasting your time because you may go one day and you're not selling very many, or you may not meet somebody, but those golden nuggets
Yep.
are there. And my rule of thumb is about I 2 to 3 a month. I try to do either on Saturday or Sunday, and I just love them. 'Em. They're so much fun.
Yeah. And I think, I can't speak for all authors, but especially new authors, either they never thought of doing something like that or they're not comfortable with doing it. And it's work. You can't just sit behind a table when you go to these events. You have to,
Mhm,
as one of my authors calls it, cause a commotion at your table. You want people to say, hey, what the heck is going on over there? I need to go over there and
yeah.
be a part of that conversation. You want to have fun with it. It is a lot of work, and you need to have your tell me what is it? Tell me about your story. You need to have
Mhm,
that like that. And you could change it, but the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And again, it's about your message. And never forget to tell them why you wrote the book because your book may
yeah.
be similar to the lady who's next to you, but why is it so passionate that I'm part of this book? This is a personal thing for me. What I mean,
Mhm.
and sometimes that helps you sell as well. And you're building
100%.
that bond and like in this situation, especially for organ donation awareness, not to get on that platform or anything, but nobody talks about it until you mention it. And they're like, "Oh, my uncle John, he's on dialysis. Yeah, he received a kidney," but no one, it's
Mhm,
like taboo. Nobody talks about it. And I bet you a lot of your messages in your children's books, people may not talk about it for whatever reason, but it's out there and it's something that is needed in society. And again, you make a connection with an organization who can support your book. When it's like, what we have been looking for something like this for a very long time.
mhm.
I need you to come and speak to my assembly, my group of people here. Just enjoy it. And it's your baby. So you want to coddle it like a baby, watch it grow, and just never forget your reason and your passion for writing it.
100% Jean. All of the interviews, what they have in common is the authors are not only passionate, but they wrote about something
Yeah.
personal. It's personal. And when you share that out at farmers
Yep.
markets, it's almost a guaranteed sale, whether it's about your grandkids, whether it's about a personal medical issue, whether it's about mental health and rescue animals. I just interviewed Elizabeth Redder. Oh my gosh, her dog. All of the interviews, and I have a hard time telling everyone you have to follow, you have to subscribe, but there's truly like your information you shared today, Jean. There's so much valuable information in
Thank you.
these interviews that I can't say it enough. Everybody should be following, everybody should be subscribing. Share with us where our listeners can find your book, Jean, and where they can find you at.
Yeah. So our book, The Howl is Thankful for Kidney Donation, is available on all the major online retailers. You can look it up under bcbooksllc.com as well. Brenda has a whole bunch of merchandise that goes along with Howl, so you can get help others with love from head to toe. And just to put a little plug also, I'm a contributing author in this one as well because of organ donation. This was a #1 bestseller. This is where I share my story on my kidney journey with myself and then my kidney donor. And Brenda is the publisher and the collaborator of getting us all together. This is 25 stories of recipients, donors, and donor families. And then this is another one I'm in collaboration with. I share my story about my sister who we lost to COVID. In this, we gathered 19 families from across the country who unfortunately lost someone as well. And this is a celebration of their lives. All of these you can find on the major online. You can reach out to me on Instagram. It is share your story _JS. And you can reach out to me via email as well if you'd like. And my personal email is my name, Jean, JeAnn, Sime, SIME, 23 at gmail.com.
Thank you, Jean. It has been wonderful talking to you and so much valuable
Awesome.
information. I really appreciate your time. Everyone is so busy, and I really appreciate you taking the
Well,
time.
you know what? If I can help one author out there and they take one little nugget away from it, that's what it's all about. Is just like Howell says, help others with love. And the publishing industry, it's tough. It's not easy. It's not glamorous like people think it is. You're an award-winning author. Oh boy, she's got the money flowing in. It's work. If you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life.
That's a wonderful saying. Thanks again, Jean, for joining us
Thank you,
today.
JoAnn. I truly appreciate you and what you're doing. Everyone, just keep going, and I can't wait to read your next book.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you so much for joining me on Beyond the Book with JoAnn Dickinson. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with everyone who loves stories that inspire hope and creativity. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.